Hey guys, it's TheFrXion here, Tank12. However you call me, I don't really care, and welcome back to World of Tanks. Now, I wanted to apologize that this Monday, which was the 30th of November, I was not able to produce a World of Tanks weekly episode. We're going to be just doing this, I think, on Friday. It's Wednesday today. I have a lot of stuff on my plate currently, and that's why I just want to make this little update video why I am not going to be as active the next 2-3 weeks as I have been previously in October, September, and November. Because I now have the test phase, or like the exam period, and I'll have a lot of stuff to do on the side, so I'll be seeing how well I can make videos. I'm still going to be trying to make 2 videos a week, but we'll have to see if I can keep up with that schedule. And yeah, that's about it. This is the update. We're going to be playing the Type 61. This is one of the most amazing Tier 9 medium tanks that I have played in recent history. I haven't really played a lot of Tier 9. I've been playing a lot of Tier 8. I've been playing the OHO. I have been playing the Chinese, not the WZ, but I have been playing the light tank, the WZ-132. I have been playing the CS-44. Now I've unlocked the CS-53. I just need the credits. And I've been playing the Stridswagen Model 3, which is a Tier 9 tank destroyer. But for medium tanks, I have not touched a lot of medium tanks in recent time. Maybe for the Kampfpanzer 50T, which I did unlock in the ranked game mode, but I still have to thoroughly play, and I'm going to be testing pretty soon as well. So yeah, we're going to be playing the Type 61, and before we do that, we're going to check out the characteristics and the stats of this vehicle. So this is the fully upgraded version of the Type 61, and as you can see, it is rolling around with a 105mm rifled gun. It's not the same. Is it the same gun? It is actually the same gun as on the STB-1, so that is a very nice feature. Having a Tier 10 gun on a Tier 9 vehicle is always a plus. What you can see is that you have a standard loadout of AP shells, heat shells as premium shells, and high explosive right there. Now, the AP shells have a pretty good velocity of 1,185, which could be considered on the same or similar level to APCR shells. But yeah, you're going to drop off quite a bit of that shell velocity. About 200 shell velocity will be lost if you're using the heat shell. And that heat shell will give you 330mm of penetration on average, which is pretty damn nice. Remember, on AP shells and APCR shells, there is a damage drop-off over distance. You can see 232, I think, at 500 meters. But with heat shells, there is no damage drop-off or pen drop-off, because with the heat shells, you're going to be able to have 330mm of pen even at 500 meters distance. Keep that in mind because it's quite important when you are sniping. What I've noticed is when I was playing this tank in stock, its configuration was actually quite decent, to be fair. The 90mm gun does seem to be quite underwhelming at first, but its rate of fire is incredible. It has 12, you're able to fire 12 rounds per minute, which allows you an average or DPM of 2,880 with this tank. And it has decent dispersion and aim time values. It's very good. Like, the aim time is really, really good. It has 1.7 seconds for a full circle and to get the complete bloom out. And it's pretty impressive, to be fair, because this tank with the 90mm gun is still quite dangerous because it can do a lot of damage over time, but the alpha damage does certainly lack. That is something that immediately changes as soon as you unlock the 105mm gun, because with the 105mm gun you have 360 alpha, you have 258 average pen, and your rate of fire is still pretty damn high. You will fire about 7.8 rounds per minute, which still allows you 2,810 DPM, which is pretty impressive for a tier 9 medium tank with that amount of pen. Now, obviously, the drop-off on this tank, or the main downside, is its size. It is a huge vehicle. It is gigantic. It's so big. It has no armor at all. 55 millimeters at the front, 45 at the side, 25 on the rear, 85 millimeters on the turret at the front, 80 on the side, 35 on the rear. What's very interesting about this tank, though, is that it kind of resembles a Sherman, or like a huge Sherman. At least that's always what I assumed this tank to be based on, like a massive Sherman after the World War II period, when Japan was occupied by the United States of America. And I don't know, it might be just that, because this tank resembles a Sherman for me. But what's very interesting about the armor on this vehicle is certainly the upper plate. The upper plate is only 55 millimeters thick, but with the angling that you have right here, there are a lot of chances that you might bounce certain shells from certain angles, especially if you're on a ridgeline, because this tank does have 10 degrees of gun depression. And that's something that I've noticed. I've been bouncing stuff that I didn't think were possible on a vehicle with only 55 millimeters of armor. But as always, you cannot trust that armor, because it will eventually let you down, and thus you have to rely on your mobility, your concealment, or basically just your ability to get to places where other people cannot shoot you, or where you can stay hidden for long enough. So you need to learn how to double bush with this tank. You need to learn how to position yourself that you're going to be very combat effective at the one side, because you want to use that DPM, but on the other hand, you don't want to be exposing yourself too much, because you want to stay alive and not die to enemy fire. So at least one of the strong points, or at least one of the strong suits for this tank, in my opinion, is the mobility, especially if you put a turbocharger class 1. It's not the fastest tank. You can see that the 45 kilometers per hour top speed with the top engine doesn't scream I'm the best, the fastest vehicle. But if you do put on the turbocharger, it does get faster. 50 kilometers per hour top speed, which is very interesting, because this tank has a very good specific power to weight ratio of 23.49. So you're going to be accelerating pretty quickly. You're going to be at 50 very, very quickly, at least what I've noticed when I was playing this tank. And the traverse speed is amazing, 59.21 degrees per second. You can't ask for more. This tank turns very quickly. It turns its turret very rapidly. It's just a very, I don't know, on-point vehicle. It's a tank that I never expected to be like this, because whenever I think of the Type 61, whenever I think of the engagements I had with this vehicle, I first thought that it's just going to be slow, sluggish, but turns out this tank actually is very, very agile, very mobile. It has very nice, like a complete package with an incredible good gun, which does make this tank a very nice choice for the next tier 9 medium tank if you're looking for a certain line to grind to, because the STB1 is obviously going to be a great tank. The only thing I've noticed is, so far, I have not really trained my crew for concealment. I don't have any real concealment on this vehicle. I'm not using premium consumables, so the concealment values are rather low. My spotting, though, on the other hand, is pretty damn good. 458 meters view range. I do have binoculars on it, because I do want to get the most out of it. I want to be able to outspot my enemies, but obviously I need to work on that concealment to make this tank just a little bit better. So we're going to jump into a game, and I'm going to show you guys what this tank is all about. Okay. We're going to use this gameplay. I thought I was going to do it live action, but the servers just shut down, so I decided to pick a gameplay to look at what this tank is just capable of, so we can see the very strong suits and the maybe not so strong suits of this tank. We're playing on fjords, and this map is all about the middle. This point at E4, E5, if you control this point right there, you're going to be able to basically engage the guys in the middle right there, going down south. You can engage anyone of the enemy team trying to push the north, and you can engage all the guys sitting in these bushes. The thing is just, you need to have the balls to push that position. And with a tank like this, the mobility is just decent enough to get you to the point. Usually, if you have fast tanks, such as maybe the AMX 50B or the Batchat 25T, you're gonna have a bit of a problem. And you can see immediately we do catch a round up our ass from the Löwe. That's something that you'll have to get used to when you're playing this position, because it's just so vital that you'll have to actually get shot once. What's very good about this game right here is that there's no artillery. So as long as we can stay down here and only peek with our turret, we can make this position work very well in our favor. You can see we just punished that SU-101 for not hitting us, and we punished him by hitting him and actually penning him. And what you can also see is that the enemy team is playing very aggressively. They're pushing our little fishbowl right here, and they don't really pay that much attention to the Progetto 65 over here and the Type 61. And I just want to point your attention towards the incredible rate of fire. This tank, with this rate of fire, with such kind of a gun, can do a lot of damage. Right there we bounced the SU-101. That's what I meant with some very surprising bounces. I think the gun mantlet is actually stronger than 88 millimeters thick, or it's actually thicker than 88 millimeters because it's the gun mantlet. And what people tend to do is they do shoot the gun mantlet. I think a lot of guns will overmatch the armor, but you can see that the TVP didn't manage to pen us right there, and the SU-101, so there is a bit of a nice catch right there when you're playing this tank. We do manage to knock out the Pershing, and you can see with the rate of fire we've managed to knock him out completely in 2 shots, and it's just pretty impressive. With the 10 degrees of gun depression, you can do so much with this tank. So right here we have the Object 274A, which is the new Soviet reward, or not reward tank, but the new Soviet premium tank that you can unlock in their current tank marathon. To be fair, I'm not really interested in that tank because it's just, yeah, it's another premium Soviet tank, and I'm not really interested in a premium tier 8 Soviet medium, since I already have a ton of them. So right here we're in a bit of an awkward situation. We have a Mäuschen, which is a tier 9 German heavy tank. And I thought he would much better be off down south fighting against our heavies, but he decided to go into this spot. Must have cost him a lot of nerve to drive up here and then stay there, because probably he was just getting shot from everywhere. So right here you can just see that this tank is so flexible. You can use this tank with the rate of fire. You can just casually walk up here to the side of a Mäuschen and just punish this guy who's sitting there because you have 258 millimeters of pen. You have the tier 9 or the tier 10 gun on a tier 9 vehicle, and this Mäuschen is not able to do anything against us, and we basically just farm him because he's completely out of position and he's getting pushed by the T95. The T95, actually, massive props to this T95, because this push by him was something that takes a lot of courage. He pushed, I think, the 274, he pushed the Mäuschen, and he pushed another medium tank that was here, the KPZ 50T, who just spotted me and managed to punish me as well. Now, this tank does not take fire very well. It does not take damage very well either. It does have 1750 HP, which for a medium tank at tier 9 is rather much, but if you do get exposed out there and you get spotted, you're not going to be surviving the encounters for very, very long. So we decide to move down to the south. That's just the incredible position of the middle. That's just the flexibility that you have, that you can just go down, roam the south, go over here, decide to go to the south or the north, or go back to base, and you just have so many options right here. And we decide to push them from behind the T30, a Löwe, and T95, and they did not expect that coming in from us. Unfortunately, our T95 does get knocked out by the Löwe, and we are on our own. But there is an AMX 5100, and this AMX 5100 is going to be a part of this gameplay, because I think the question now is, the thing that I'm going to be doing right now, you'll be seeing, and the question is it legit, is it fair, or is it unsportsmanlike conduct? Because I kind of felt bad, but you'll see what I'm talking about. Currently, we have T95 who decided to turn around and engage us right here. This T95, obviously, with his massive amount of HP and his armor, is a very tough nut to crack, so I decided to actually load heat to be able to pen his weak spots. Unfortunately, you can see right there, we bounced the cupola because this T95 is not a new T95 driver. He knows how to angle his armor so that the cupola gets some additional armor. And he does notice that the enemies, or that our heavy tanks, are currently pushing in from the back. Now this AMX 5100 is sitting right next to me, and he's probably just waiting for me to get hit or this T95 to turn around the corner. So I noticed that this T95 is not something that I want to be messing with. I have 685 HP, so I decide to pull back, and I do pull back right behind the AMX 5100, and he does die to the T95. The thing is, the AMX 5100 is not very happy, and I can understand why he's not happy, because I kind of used him as a live meat shield. The thing is, maybe I could have... The question was always, could I back up into the little valley down there so that he cannot shoot me? But the thing is that I noticed that I was just too far away. I was too much central in that road. So what I actually wanted was, I wanted to back up behind the AMX 5100, and I didn't want to block him, but it was kind of a dick move. So in the end, I did apologize to him after the game, but he was pretty upset, and I can understand that. And yeah, it's fair to say it wasn't my most glorious moment, just to point that out. So right here you can see the KPZ 50T and the Badger both decided to cash out, decided to jump out, and we do secure the victory. So all in all, this tank, impressive. I have played about 15 games in this vehicle now, probably 5 or 7 in fully stock configuration, until I decided to actually free experience the gun. And no, actually I did not free XP the gun. I actually bought the gun with experience that I had, because I played this tank and it wasn't that bad. I used my 5 times experience booster, I used my 4 times experience double booster, so it didn't take me that long. And then I decided to unlock the engine with a bit of free experience, I think. And this tank kicks ass. It's pretty damn impressive how well this tank can behave. And I think right here you can see that the TVP actually bounced off our gun, because we do have a mark right here that goes all the way back, and it looks like it's a hit from the TVP. And yeah, we do survive this game. 685 HP remaining, 4,888 damage dealt. This tank is very flexible, and it's something that I just adore to play. Tanks like this are my kind of vehicles, and I highly recommend, if you do like medium tanks, if you do not care about armor too much, give this tank a try. Give this tank, you know, just a chance, because even if you don't like the Type 61, you're going to be ending up with the STB1, and that thing is totally bonkers. Such a good tank. Absolutely looking forward to unlocking it. But until then, I'll see you guys on the next video.